Welcome to Lectures After Dark Round 3. Thank you so much for coming tonight. This is where the drinks are strong, the ideas are stronger, and the lighting is misleadingly bright. If this is your first one, welcome to the cult. Thanks for coming. If you've been before, then you already know the drill. This is not your usual lecture, and you're not expected to sit and nod along as a usual class. Let's kick off. I'm not going to be one of those guys and do one of those annoying warm-up exercises, so you're safe. Tonight's speaker is a good friend of mine, my once upon a time lecturer, once upon a time boss, and now dear friend, Joanna Page. She is a lecturer in advertising and brand creativity at AUT. But she's also one of those rare humans who can make words feel like witchcraft. She's an expert in connecting brands and audiences and brands. So tonight she's going to teach us how to find, tweak, and absolutely nail your brand voice. Even when your boss insists on adding synergy to every freaking slide. So without further ado, please give a very warm welcome to the wonderful Joanna Page.
Oh, thank you, my lovely. Okay. My God, no pressure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. You may wish that you can't very soon. Thank you for that lovely intro. My name's Joanna. I'm just going to tell you a little bit why I think I have a right to talk to you. I kind of don't feel that way at all. But hi, I'm Jo. I'm going to tell you a few of my passions and give you a little bit of context about who I am and what I do. I don't know if anyone knows who this gentleman is. No, yep. Tim. Oh my God, I have a kindred spirit. Yeah. So this is a guy called Tim Minchin who, when it comes to words, oh my God, like I get seduced by words. Not a challenge. But this guy, what he can do with words and thoughts, and he tends to do it with music as well, just blows my mind. He is phenomenal. So he's a huge influence on me, so much so I call this, his name's Tim Minchin. This is my Tim Minch arm. Many of his words are going to be added to that. I'm a mum, I've got 2 boys. That's from a few years ago. They have kept me interested very much so in storytelling, which is very important for brands as well. As you know, they're devils, but I love them and I can't get rid of them. In terms of storytelling, I also do something with my kids called Die November. Who's heard of Elf on the Shelf? Yep. This is way cooler. So what this is in the month of November, the dinosaurs, hence the name, come alive. They've got no motive. They're not spying on you for Santa. They're just rocking up and causing absolute chaos. So I've been doing that this is year 12 this year. And they tell stories and they have their own brand as well, as far as I'm concerned. And they can get away with doing things and saying things that I can't, which is great. So if you have any ideas for things I could do, that would be cool. I also wrote my thesis about them. That's how important they are when it comes to storytelling. That's me, much younger, drinking a lot of wine, which ties in with where my copywriting career really took off. That's the thing. I'm a copywriter, love words, use them, sometimes badly. And I've written for all kinds of organisations over the years. This is going back before your time there, but Cure Kids, Make-A-Wish, so some not-for-profit stuff, helping them find brand voice, because it's not easy to stand out in that particular field. I started out as a journalist for radio. I also worked writing copy for radio and got to meet a whole lot of different people. And the cool thing about that, and radio being so conversational, is you get to hear how people talk, right? And that's really important when you're coming up with brand voice. Trust me, guys, I'm talking about myself, but it's all connected. So I was working for More FM, back in the day when people listened to radio. And also, just for fun, I'm not really Rickrolling you, but I do love a bit of Rick Astley as well. So that's a little bit about me, but the key thing is I'm a copywriter. I've been doing this for years, which is more than 1 decade, just in case you're wondering. So I do kind of know what I'm talking about. And when I was 28, this pretty much says it all. This is where my love for brand voice comes from. I identified as a 60-something-year-old white man, very white man, lovely white man, who plays drums, cooks like a legend, and knows a heck of a lot about wine. So I was working as an in-house copywriter for a wine marketing company, and Vic Williams was the face of this company. Right? So there I am, 28, learning about wine as I went along, because you have to, but everything that I wrote had to sound like it was coming from Vic, because the customers felt that they were receiving, I mean, we're talking the olden days, guys, letters in the mail that they thought he had written, right? So I learned really early on how to refine a brand voice to the point where I knew that everything that I was sending out sounded like it was coming from him. And that's kind of what you need to be doing when you're either writing for a brand, if any of you guys do any of your own stuff and you are the brand, or you're looking at things that other people have written and gone, oh, does that sound right? So tonight's about helping you to figure that stuff out. But anyway, the cool thing about Vic is that he, like all of us, has a whole bunch of different personas, right? And you use different things in different places. So who can any, well, we can all, I'm sure, think of a time where if you think back and you're at home, you're a kid, right? The phone rings, your mum picks up the phone, and you can tell who she's talking to by the way she's talking, right? So I guess my point here is her voice, you know her voice. Like you now know my voice. How I'm talking to you, very different from how I'm talking to my kids later, when they will not have done the vacuuming I asked them to do. So the brand voice, oh, that was a MasterCard, there we go. So brands have voices. The reason they have voices is so you can recognise them, right? People don't want to hear from a brand. I certainly don't want to hear from a brand, but I do want to hear from someone who's got a story to tell me. Yeah. So people want to hear from people, and brands really can be like people. So you want them both to have character, right? You want them both to have an attitude, like to take a stance on something. You want to know what their attitude is. Not like my 14-year-old giving me attitude, although that's part of his character. A specific voice. You want to be able to discern, like, or when someone calls, do people pick up their phones anymore? When you get no, actually I don't know that that's a good example. No one answers a private number or an unknown number. Don't worry about that. But it is that idea of you hear someone's voice and you know who it is without having to see them. And brands and people, you have things that you will say and you have things that you would never say. Right? There we go. And certain ways to speak. And you'll have certain ways to speak to different people. Right? So, for example, I talked to my mother, who was a devout Catholic and very conservative, in a very, very different way from how I talk to my colleagues, right? But it's still my voice. Right? So it's about knowing your audience, and your brand voice should change a little bit in terms of audience, right? So your voice is this thing that I'm using right now to talk to you, all right? There is something that makes your own voices unique so that you can be heard across a room. People will, if you've got in a situation where there's a whole bunch of kids running around and there's a whole bunch of mums and one kid yells, "Mum," that mum knows that it's her kid and runs out the fire exit. No. And the tone is the style and the manner of how you speak, right? So you want your brand to have a really consistent voice, but you can have some flexibility with the tone. So if we think back to my good friend Vic, the customers who got letters from him thought that he was this really, and he is, very knowledgeable, quite friendly, but still professional person, right? But Vic would come in to do wine tastings with the staff, and it was a totally different matter altogether. Man knew some really inappropriate jokes. It was great. But if the customers found out about that would ruin the whole brand image, right? So it really was a huge masterclass for me in why this is so important. And I am eternally grateful to have had that experience, because it means that I've been able to take that to other businesses and organisations and help them work on their brand voice, right? So brand voice is not the tone of voice, the tone changes, right? You should have the same brand voice. You want to be recognised across whatever channel that you're on. And the tone can change and should change depending on who you're talking to, right? And Wendy's does it really well. I'm kind of hoping this is going to play. So this isn't a playy one, and you guys won't be able to read this, but this is some old stuff from Wendy's. And Wendy's has been amazing at this for years. So if I can read it with my old lady eyes, it says, "Here at Wendy's, we know that the key to a great hamburger is top quality beef and careful handling from start to finish. So we invented blah, blah, blah," right? So it's kind of formal. It's positioning themselves as something. And the reason they've done that is they know their audience, okay? So this is a tray mat. And the people who go to Wendy's and eat in at Wendy's are either parents with kids who do not want stuff all through their car, or an older than me generation, right? Who have the time to sit and read, and they're used to reading a lot. So they've specifically chosen that way, that tone of their brand voice for those people. But then they also do stuff like this, which is a similar message in that it's fresh, not frozen. And we'll see if this plays. No, I don't think we need sound for this one. So, oh, there we go. Kind of. There we go. Oh, old school, please don't go on to another thing, hang on. Oh yes, great, woo, okay. Right, so that's really to the point, right? Words to the point, but you can kind of get that, it's got that little dig that they like to have at the competition. You expect that from them now, right? So the people who were looking at the tray mats in the restaurant don't expect you to have a go at your competition in the restaurant. But on a Super Bowl ad, hell's yeah, right? And then they do it so beautifully on social. And these are some really old examples, but I would kill to be working on their social pages. The tone of voice here, they know their audience. They know they can get away with some really interesting stuff on here that, again, you wouldn't say to grandma and grandpa who've gone along to the restaurant. So we've got things like, at Wendy's, what should I get from McDonald's? Directions to the nearest Wendy's, you know. Wendy's, my girlfriend doesn't love Wendy's, what should I do? Might need some couples therapy, TBH, you know. And they just play with it, right? So there's this sense of fun around the brand voice as well, but it's still that consistent, no nonsense, we get straight to the point. We're going to keep it real because that's what we do with our burgers, right? So my point with this is that good examples show that no matter what, your brand can stay true to its voice. It doesn't matter what the channel is, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, stay true to your voice, play with your tone a little bit. Like, that's cool, Joe, but how? This is how it helps if there's a real voice, right? And the one that most people would think of in terms of in New Zealand, like a really strong brand voice. If I said yellow and supermarket, you say, and who is the voice of Pack and Save? Yeah, right. This is not Stickman, but this is a really, really strong, more recent brand voice that you guys will know. And again, I'm hoping you. Which I've just learned. It's so weird seeing it here, but hearing it there. Yeah, so you guys know Tina, right? Consistent across the board. Here's another one. And the thing with that, right, she's not saying it, it's you're reading it. Yeah? If you had just the brand colour, and she wasn't in that picture, and you got that and the beep beep at the end, that brand voice is strong enough that it's still actually bang on for Turners. And one more for luck. Oh, maybe we won't. This is taking it into the song. Does anyone listen to radio? I love you. Are totally my favourite person. She is so loved in my house. My kids will tell me to shut up in the car if a Turners ad comes on. Mum, stop talking, it's Tina. Yeah. I'm not playing the whole thing. Like, you just need to hear that, right? And you know it's going somewhere fun. Won't play the whole thing. So my goal for you guys tonight is to find your brand voice, right? And there are a couple of simple steps that we'll go through. Does anyone work for somewhere that has a brand voice? Yep, got some. Anyone who wants to work for somewhere that has a brand voice? Anyone want to make some brand voices? Yes, good. Oh, phew. Okay. I'm going to show you two things that will help you to do that. Jung's 12 archetypes. No, this is actually really, really important. Okay, so every brand has some kind of foundation, right? And there really are only 12, right? So it's a caregiver, a creator, a jester, an explorer, everyday guy or girl. Hint, about 90% just made that up on the spot, but possibly accurate, of New Zealand companies, everyday guy or girl. That's what they lean into, right? So if you want to stand out, get a more interesting archetype. Hero brands, innocent brands, the lover, the magician, the rebel, the ruler, and the sage, right? So the first step is to figure out, where does my brand fit? And those are just some examples that you can see. Not all none New Zealand, but IKEA, every day. Macca's, every day. It's in how they talk to you, right? Magician, Disney. Yeah, kind of makes sense. You with me? Good. Step one is to figure out which of those fits your brand. Step two is to ask yourself, if this brand was a celebrity, which celebrity would they be? Okay. And that's your in, right? Because that's your test for every single thing that the brand then says. How would this person say that, right? It's like, seriously, it sounds so simple. And it really is. More people should do it, right? So you literally kind of redefine the what would Jesus do situation to the what would the celebrity say, and then you've pretty much nailed it, right? So for example, what do you guys, if we go Air New Zealand, which of those archetypes, does anyone want to holler out which you think Air New Zealand would be?
Caregiver?
Caregiver? Yeah? Explorer? Yeah? Okay, cool. Yeah, because you can have a couple, right? So in that case, if you're thinking of a celebrity that you would consider to be a caregiver and an explorer, where could that take you? I picked some Davids. I picked some Davids. Yeah. Do any of those voices fit caregiver and explorer? Yeah? Yeah? Admiral David Tennant. Oh, David Tennant. Oh, so it's, yeah, okay. Yeah, but you see now that if you go, okay, let's go with David Tennant, why not? Let's have a Scottish sounding, no. Do you now see that you could go, okay, everything that I'm writing or I'm saying or the brand is saying for Air New Zealand, how would David Tennant say it? And then you're like, okay, that doesn't sound right. How do I tweak this? Boom. Right. And it's across everything. And the beautiful thing is if you're working for a larger organisation or you're just trying to get somebody else across the line or to see that what they've done just isn't quite right, you've got this as your reference. So you're not going, what you've done is shit. You're saying, oh, that's great, but would he say it that way? Because this is what we need to do. Right? It's seriously a no-brainer. And then once you've done that, so it's kind of the first step, then you refine it. And you then figure out who your main target audience is and how David Tennant would talk to that target audience. Yeah? You analyse everything that they've done in the past, the brand's done in the past. It's really quick and easy to do on social. What's the voice like there? And I say do it on social channels because you can see how people have responded. They've commented, how many likes there are. Look at the posts that have the most likes, shares, positive comments. Actually, critical comments are good as well. Yeah. And see what it was about what the brand said there, how they said it, that got that reaction. Look at the good stuff, lean into the good stuff. Yeah. There we are. And then think about how you want your audience to feel after they've seen whatever it is the brand's trying to tell them. Yeah? Feed all of that in. Yeah? Okay, so, and then connect it all to emotions. Because people respond to stories and they respond to emotions. Nobody likes being told what they should do or that they've done something wrong, right? So the key is to be really consistent. Once you've got it, you've got that person in your head and you know how they would say things, apply that to everything. And that the reason why you do that, even though Wendy's has those different tones, but you could still recognise the voice, the reason is you want customers to be able to recognise your brand's voice everywhere. Like the mum who can hear her kid across the playground. That's your goal. That's going to add value to the brand, and that's going to make the shareholders and the various stakeholders very, very happy, because that means this, right? Yeah. Okay, so this time I'm going to get you guys to do this yourselves. Put your brand here. Or pick a brand if it's not for you. Pick any brand. And in your brain, I'll give you a minute, decide which of those archetypes it is. And I'm going to have a drink while you do that.
Excuse me. Sorry, can it be your personal brand or does it have to be a company?
It can totally be your personal brand. And even if, okay, this is a really good point actually, because I was going to talk about this later. If it is your personal brand, it's your voice, right? So if you were going to grow your brand so big that you wanted to sell it on and step away from it, who is going to be the celebrity person that you would choose to represent you and your brand voice so that that could continue. Does that make sense? So you've got your own voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say lean into that absolutely 100% now. Right? But imagine that you've built you built your business so big, your brand so big, that you want to sell it, get some money, go do something else really cool.
So someone else will have my name, basically.
Or part of them buying that brand, they want the brand value that comes with it. Yeah. So they may change the name, but they want to retain the customers, and the customers are used to having a voice, hearing a particular voice.
Why do we have to pick a celebrity voice? Is it because the other writers will know who that celebrity is, so it's easier to write about it?
Yeah. Or also, if your brand gets so big and you've got people working for you who aren't interacting with you and don't necessarily know you personally, how do you make sure that what they're writing for you sounds consistent?
So would you say maybe I find a celebrity that is have very similar thinking or talking style like me?
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, that makes
Cool.
sense.
Yay.
Thank you.
Cool. Right. Everyone else got something? And I'm not going to make you share. It's okay because that's horrendous. No one likes doing that. Yeah. Any of those suit? No? But have you got someone in mind? Okay. Think you've got your archetype. You've got your brand. Have a think. Who is the celebrity that you would use for that? Personally, I think there is a lot of David Rose in me, but yeah. Okay, and then once you've got an idea of someone, you go through these steps. Obviously, I'm not going to make you do that now, but this is how you really hone it. So if you want to do it, go away, take some time, take half an hour, delve into some stuff, even if it's or lean into the celebrity and how they speak and decide what it's going to. But again, it all comes back to audience, right? The brand voice comes back to the audience. How do you talk to the audience? And I think I might, there we go. I don't know what that means. I often don't know what that means. Once you've found your voice, you start using it.
Can I take a photo of the previous line?
You sure can.
Thank you so much.
That one?
And the other one.
That's
the
what I'm-
next one. Thank you.
You can also take a photo of that one should you wish. No. Okay, so a few quick tips. If you are doing your own writing, anyone here do their own writing? Yeah, there's some of you. Cool. Okay. Don't forget that word choice is really important. I don't know if I can play this, but we'll try. This is an older ad from kind of I hate to say it, I'm so sorry. Trigger warning, COVID times. That aired, and it is really important to know what your brand voice is, what you're trying to say, and who your audience is, because the word choice is really important. Will it play? No. Okay. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Thanks, Soph. We're going to end up having to. Did not think this through.
Parents and caregivers can now get their 5 to 11-year-olds immunised against COVID-19. Find out more at bookmyvaccine.nz or call the COVID Vaccination Helpline on 0800 28 2926.
Okay. Can we hear it one more time, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Parents and caregivers can now get their 5 to 11-year-olds immunised against COVID-19. Find out more at bookmyvaccine.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Love you.
Call COVID Vaccination Helpline on 0800.
Did anyone pick up on the word? It's really hard to pick up on. So they're talking about getting